All right. Hi. Today I'm going to explain our virtual enterprise professional portfolio resume website that you're going to make. Okay. So I'm going to explain it. I'm going to answer, I think, what might be a lot of your questions. So let's go ahead and do that. So your website's going to be consisting of four different tabs. I'm going to explain each one of them. Okay. Now, just so you know, not all of this is due tomorrow or something like that. So bear with me, and I'm going to explain the different due dates as we go. So let's just start with the structure of the website that you're going to make. Okay. And then I'll start to explain some of the other details and due dates as we move along. So your first thing that you're going to do is you're going to create a home tab. So this would be like you give a potential employer the website link, and then this is like their landing page. So we want a pretty good picture of you, landscape version. Jarrell's a great example here with the beach in the background. So something like that. We want it to be pretty high quality. We don't want it to be very pixelated. So it would be basically like the landing page where they just come there and start. You don't have to have a lot of words. You should have your name there pretty big and bold. Okay. And then maybe links to your tabs, whether it's at the top or on the side. That's kind of how up to you on how you structure that. Okay. Your next tab that you're going to have is you're going to have personal information. Okay. So this would be information about you, your education, your hobbies, background, any background information that you think might be pertinent. Um, you would have a pop out of your actual resume that's already made. So that's shouldn't be a lot of extra work right now at this point because we've already created our resumes, we've updated our resumes, we've done that already twice in this class. So now it's just time to create the link to have it pop out. Okay. If you want to have a embedded YouTube or We video where you introduce yourself and you talk about yourself, that would be pretty cool, but it's not a requirement. But just something in this day and age, lots of people have interactive websites with videos of themselves instead of just print. So that would be pretty cool, but definitely not a requirement. Okay. The next tab is now you're going to get a little bit more fancy in terms of being a professional. And now you're going to start to bring in some of your professional experiences and artifacts that you have. So if you say that you have experience in graphic arts, then you're going to show us something that you created in graphic arts. So you might have a little portfolio of some of your things here. So you might have write-ups, you might have pictures, you might have pictures of you holding your trophy. If you're going to say that you were a captain of the tennis team, let's say. So that's where you would make this fun and interactive, but also pretty professional at the same time. Okay. So, a very common question I get with this is, Mr. Schneider, I haven't had a lot of professional experience. I've never had a job, or the only job I've had is I've been a part-time cashier at Portillo's or something like that. So this is where you really need to think outside the box and think about your classes, your experiences, if you've been to camps, if you've been on teams, if you've been part of clubs. So you need to really start thinking outside the box here and include these as professional experiences. Later on in life, when you get more experience, you would be replacing your professional experiences with some of these other things that are like classes or clubs or teams and things like that. But right now, we all know that that you don't have a lot of those experiences yet in your life. And really, when people are looking at your resume and they're looking at your websites, what they're really trying to do is get to know the real you to see if there's someone that they want to work with. So it's okay to stretch this a little bit and make a team, like being a captain or something like that, being a professional experience, because you still are learning, you're still interacting with people, you're still leading people in certain ways, you're learning from things, you're reflecting on experiences. So even though it's not a suit and tie type of job, being on a team or a club or something like that, it's definitely something that you can use as professional experience, and it's a talking point in an interview too. So the other thing that you can expand on this in this area is your VEI experiences. So the trade show, I think, would be a great example of something that you learned and had to overcome in terms of some of the things that made you nervous going into the trade show, be it a competition or just kind of getting out there and making sales and stuff. So these are things that you overcame and their experiences, and they're great to talk about. And yes, it's definitely a professional experience. So if you have pictures of yourself, or use the pictures that I gave you the folder for the last project. So use whatever you need. If you need pictures, go ahead and email me. I'll give you access to that folder again. Just let me know. But this would be an area where you're expanding on all the different types of experiences that you've had up to this point. Okay. Then skills. Okay. Skills website is going to be in two different categories. Okay. So you're going to have what we call soft skills, and have 3 to 5 examples of those. And then hard skills, 3 to 5 examples of those. So soft skills are skills that are hard to nail down and say, like, oh, he's a fast typer. Okay. Instead, it's more of like communication, teamwork, interpersonal skills, critical thinking. I'll tack on problem solving skills, things like that. Those are soft skills, and really employers are looking at those even more so than hard skills, which I'll talk about in a second. So don't sell yourself short on these. Don't worry about bragging about yourself. Go ahead and think about yourself and your skill sets and where your strengths lie when we're talking about like social emotional communications with people and how you interact with people. Really try to nail down 5 of those strengths that you have in those areas. So if you're still kind of trying to figure out what your soft skills are, go ahead and Google soft skills, and you'll find any number of websites that bullet them and list them. And as you look through those lists, try to self-reflect and target the ones that you think speak to you as your strength areas. Okay. Then we have hard skills. Now, these would be more of like technical skills. Um, Typing fast on a computer, or are you great at like information analysis, or do you speak a number of different languages? So these would be things about you, that like skills that can help you in the workplace. And even though you may not see how it's beneficial right now, an employer might see something that they know is important for them. And so don't hold back in this area too, in terms about bragging about yourself and self-reflecting, and try to target those things that maybe didn't consider were important, but some employer might really think is. Okay. So as I scroll down, there's 3 different options for you to go to. And I suggest that you go to each one of these and just spend a couple minutes, I don't know, 2 to 3 minutes looking them over to see how easily you think it might be to make some of the websites. So I gave you several exemplars here from last year, and then some from other schools. So this is Trams, if you know her. So she used Wix. A couple of the other students used Weebly. So this is her landing page. And as you can see, her tabs are labeled a little bit differently, but you can switch to the different tabs. So about me, she's got a whole right up there, professionalism. So look at these. So she helped to make this for the Maine 207 Foundation last year. This was actually part of the VEI course, as we partnered with them last year. And as you can see, that's our class actually from last year. So she's got a number of things in here, and then see how then she breaks up between leadership and skills. So it's not exactly built out the way the one that I'm assigning to you, but it's pretty close. So you can look at Trams if you want to. Okay. You can, let's see, whose is this? Okay. Alvina's is another good example. So again, on your homepage, there's not a lot. I don't really need a lot on the homepage. She structured hers a little bit differently. But here's her tabs, my work, my skills. So if you want to look through those she used Wix as well. They were partners last year, Alvina and Tram. So you can use Weebly, Wix, and the news sites for Google. So a little bit of explanation on that. If you want to use Google sites, something you need to know in that area is when you're in Google and you go to sites, there's another link to click new sites. The other thing that I would say about Google is I would use your personal account, so that when you move on with your life, if you actually want to use this website because you've done all this work, and use it with an employer that's kind of seeking more information about you, then you still have the website and you can update it as your life kind of changes and you gain more experiences. So if you leave it on our school account or make it on our school account, I don't know when they're going to delete out students' old Google accounts, if ever, but they probably will at some point. I'm just guessing. So I would first make it in your personal account and then maybe share it over to your school account if you're going to do it that way. So I also gave you other exemplars from students at other classes. You can look those over too. You don't have to spend a lot of time. So this is Maggie Martin's, just showing you really that other students at other VEI classes and schools are also doing a similar thing. So it's actually part of the virtual enterprise curriculum. Let's start talking some due dates, and I don't have any specifics for this particular video right now, but let's just talk through it. So I gave you this in Google Classroom, another tracking. So it's beneficial for me to be able to track you guys and see where you're at, to see if it looks like you need some help, or maybe we need to talk somehow via email or in a GChat or something like that. So anyway, at some point, I'm going to ask you to do various check-ins, just like the investing portfolio that you created. So wait for me to assign that in Google Classroom, and then go ahead and write these in. So the first one is your homepage with your picture, and then just the structure, like the tabs are built, even though maybe you didn't do anything with each tab yet. Just make the tabs. That's all I'm really looking for in part one, and I'll write in Classroom, I'll give you the due date for when part one should be finished. Okay. So then part two is then go ahead on your personal information tab, go ahead and build that out. So educations and hobbies write up along with your resume pop out. So those are the two things I'm looking for that. Part three is now start thinking about your professional experiences. Okay. This is where you can include pictures or artifacts, things that you've made. Okay. And then also talk about your leadership experiences and a little bit of virtual enterprise kind of thrown in there as well, too. Okay. Then at some point, I'm going to create a due date for that part, and then moving into part four. Now, this is a link for employability skills. So if you're still kind of like not really sure on skills, quote unquote, you can click that link and read a little bit more. If you know exactly what I'm talking about, I want your 3 to 5 examples of soft skills, 3 to 5 examples of hard skills. And again, I'll give you a due date for that. I have 7 check-ins. I don't know that we'll use all of them, but they're there just in case we do. Okay, so I think that's it in terms of an explanation for all this. Feel free to email me if you do have some questions and you're not sure about all this. I kind of left the learning up to you on the websites because I feel like they are easy enough that if you spend a little bit of time, you can figure out how to use them. They make them pretty user-friendly, meaning like the Weebly, the Wix, or the New Google Sites. They're pretty user-friendly, especially for you guys, digital natives. I'm sure you're going to do just fine with those if you spend a little bit of time. And if you're really having difficulty, I know there's tutorials for Weebly, for Wix, and for New Google Sites. Okay, so that's it for now. I hope you guys are all doing great, and I hope you're staying safe and your families are safe.